Good morning, everyone. Welcome to this week's edition of Children's Story Time. This week's edition of Children's Story Time is for the 18th Sunday after Pentecost. Our feature lesson is Mark chapter 9, verses 30 to 37. And this is for Sunday, September 22nd, 2022. Thanks for joining me. I'm Reverend Brad Walmer. I'm the pastor at New Covenant United Church of Christ in Williamsport, and this is our weekly edition of Children's Story Time. So thank you so very much for joining us. Hope that you will follow, subscribe, all of those different things, not only with our New Covenant UCC Williamsport YouTube channel, but also our Facebook page as well. Very helpful if you're able to do that. So what we're doing this week, if you have the game Chutes and Ladders, if you have the board game Chutes and Ladders, would invite you and your family to play that board game. Play the board game around the kitchen room table, in the living room. Invite you to play the board game Chutes and Ladders. I don't actually own the board game Chutes and Ladders, and so I got my trusty big dice, and I've made a variation of the game for Sunday morning. Going to make a variation on a large whiteboard for the congregation. But for our purposes here, I've just created a smaller one on a smaller whiteboard. So we'll roll the die, and we'll move the pieces however many spaces we go. And if we land where there is a chute, then we have to travel back down the chute. And even if we get close to the finish and we land where there's a chute, we have to travel back down the chute. So invite you to either create, like I did, your own version of chutes and ladders and play. Whether you play the game as it's originally intended, where you have both chutes and ladders, and you travel down the chutes, and if you land on a space where there's a ladder, you get to jump ahead, or whether you create a variation of the game like I did, where there's only chutes. Invite you to play the game Chutes and Ladders. The reason that the game that I created is a variation is because in mine there's no ladders. There's no climbing ahead. There's only chutes. There's only sliding down. And the reason that I did that for my game this week is because the world encourages us to be first, to be the best, to be the greatest, to always be trying to climb ahead. But in our lesson this week, Jesus says, if you want to be first, you must be last. You must become a servant to all. Jesus teaches us that greatness in the eyes of God is caring more about others than caring about becoming the best or the greatest. Jesus teaches us in our lesson this week that God's not concerned with who's the greatest. God is concerned that we care about others. And so the game kind of illustrates that for us. Instead of climbing to the top, our chutes take us back down to the bottom, just as Jesus is talking about being humble and caring more about others than climbing to the top and becoming the most popular, the most wealthy, the most powerful. Jesus teaches us in our lesson that rather than our goal being to climb to the top, he wants us to seek to serve others, and that ought to be our main concern, caring for the needs of others. And so we played a variation of Chutes and Ladders this week, where there's only chutes bringing us down to the bottom, reminding us that Jesus' teaching in our lesson this week is to focus on caring for others and serving for others, rather than climbing to the top and becoming the greatest or the best or the most powerful or the most famous or the most wealthy. Jesus says, if you want to be first, if you want to be great, you got to become the servant. May it be so. Thanks be to God. Amen. Thank you so very much for playing my game with me this week. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you have fun playing Chutes and Ladders with your family, whether you play the actual board game or whether you play some variation of the board game. I hope you have fun playing Chutes and Ladders this week, and I hope to see you next week. Peace, blessings, love, and prayers, everybody. Bye-bye.